why present implementations go wrong. Here, it is important to understand the business pulse, designing of service aligned to business, transition challenges, a deliberated focus on process quality versus product quality, rapid growth versus competence and training. The business pulse. Today, these domains, I shall be sharing with you some examples we have picked up while conducting service excellence audits, transactional audits, inspections of tickets, etc., to highlight the criticality of what goes wrong and how one needs to address these issues. This sales team, assisted by the pre-sales, have a major role to play. Competence commitment is critical in any IT service delivery, and a commitment is made, customer is given assurance of start of business, but most of time manpower, competent manpower is not available at the committed time. One has to commit realistically or improve recruitment processes to meet commitments. A simple example of one commitment made at one. The commitment was that customers' email fire time will be the start time of the call. Technically, in most environments, this is not possible. The call would lie in queue in the customer's mail server, be transmitted, may lie in queue at the service provider's side, and subsequently, by the time it reaches, there would be a time lag. Commitment which cannot be technically met should not be a part of any agreements. Looking at the business pulse from transition and delivery perspective, IT service management is a technical service, but there is a need to understand the service angle. Today, across wherever we are, we look for service, whether it be any industry from retail to banking to restaurant, etc. Similarly, the customer's requirement is not just technical, but an attitude, a service mindset. A problem ticket is whose responsibility? Many organizations would say incident, I meet SLA. Problem, I don't have a solution, I don't meet SLA. Please sit in the shoes of the customer. As a service provider, whether we call it an incident or a problem, ultimately he has business outage, which is financial loss. Somebody has to be accountable. The next, I am going to share with you a small example on mapping business losses to an infrastructure. I am looking at an organization which is a large manufacturing organization. They are using an automated business support process, maybe SAP, maybe Oracle Labs, any other ERP. They have a barcoder in the production line. Say it is an electronics goods manufacturing company. Now, as soon as the barcoder goes down, the whole production stops. The cost of a barcode printer versus the cost of production loss is not comparable. Similarly, there are certain transit documents which are printed which have to be a part of the exit as a part of legal systems before any transport, say trucks, move out of the company premises. Say this printer goes down at night 2 o'clock and till 8 o'clock it is down and a total of 20 trucks could not move out. Because of its location, the city has no entry and therefore till evening 9 o'clock these trucks still don't move. Compounded to this is it is prior to a festival season where this was an urgent need. What we are emphasizing here is inappropriate planning and not understanding the business leads to huge business losses. Now we focus on design of service which is aligned to business. The technical challenges sometimes faced. An IT service provider on a wide area network polling devices in the customer's data center would use monitoring tools which poll at an interval, maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. Please think of a condition where the polling time is 15 minutes and in your SLA you have agreed a response time of 15 minutes. The service is not designed to meet the response time. Similarly, recovery point objectives linked to business needs. If a backup is planned once every 24 hours, you can give back to the customer data which is 24 hours old to the maximum. Is it agreed with the customer? Does the customer expect certain different environments? You need to address it through design. Process design. In any support environment, there is a commitment of 24/7 support, say, and the design is such that one engineer is available 24/7, but maybe server and the engineer who is on call take a telephonic once and resolution. Or does he need some time to settle down depending where he is and then start the response and resolution? The basic architecture of delivery is not designed correctly. Another misunderstanding is in the understanding of the word response time. Many in the industry feel that acknowledging a call is response. In the shoes of the customer, they expect it to be when you start work. This needs to be deliberated during the design of service. Now we look at transition challenges, wherein we saw feasibility of commitment. One of them we saw earlier, call start time as per customer email time, implementation not as per commitment, and knowledge securing resource retention. These 2 points I shall highlight in my next slide. In transition, the cost also plays an important role. Many of the overheads which are incurred during transition are not part of the initial sales process. In addition, to address cost overruns, certain components of the service, for example, asset discovery, is not provided with service desk in the CMDB. Or else, one had asked the customer for additional cost leading to dissatisfaction. Going back to the implementation not as per commitment, I share with you a simple example. In a particular contract, there is a need to supply, implement, maintain computer hardware for production center and for data center and the complete setup. The transition team implements the service desk tool only looking at service management. The hardware component is left aside because it is managed by some other line of business within the same organization. For the customer, it is a composite delivery. The response and resolution times are linked to the hardware and the managed services together. We all know manpower is critical to delivery. If during the delivery a transition manager is not available, the transition positively is not going to happen in the correct perspective. Here I focus on process quality versus product quality. The ISO 20000, ITIL, all of them have got a very clean requirement, deliberated requirement on process quality. Product quality is not addressed very specifically. By product quality, we look at service quality. Please think of any other environment, say a manufacturing environment, manufacturing any product. After all the processes, the critical part is testing that product before it is delivered. Now, this product in IT service can come in two broad heads, scheduled delivery and break-fix environment. Suppose in a scheduled delivery, a log, the backup log indicates that certain files have not been backed up. What do we do with that log file? We just leave it aside many a times. Don't you think the customer should be asked that this file is not backed up? Is it business critical? Somebody should take the ownership. That is a part of testing of that scheduled delivery, immediately in batch process and batch quality. In break-fix environment, the ticket, which is the heart of the whole environment, has a start time and end time. Many a slip happens between the cup and lip in how this time is projected. This is primarily verified through transactional audits. Today, the quality of IT service is basically against SLA, which is the cumulative report of handling of each and every call/ticket. Different accounts may have 15,000 to 35,000, 40,000 calls. Here the issues are maybe leading from SLAs met but actually manipulated. This is something which needs to be verified through some mechanism at account level and at transaction level. At transaction level, it is basically how the stop clock of the ticketing tool is handled. I have a very simple example here of some data that was fetched. In this environment, if in case the ticket status is changed from under observation to user to confirm, the SLA is not violated. This primarily is from tool configuration challenges. What happens is, query data showed that almost 38.9% tickets were actually most likely not meeting SLA, whereas actual number of tickets which were violated and reported are much less. To handle this, there can be an inspection plan. This is the detailed inspection plan. I have got in the next slide a simplified view of some of the rows and columns, and we will look into one issue. In an inspection, one needs to make a detailed inspection plan which addresses maybe telephone calls, dropped alerts, delayed of non-scheduled or non-scheduled tasks, delayed response, etc. And there will be some checking parameter. Say, let's take the first one, telephone calls, triggered tickets. What is the parameter? Time lag in logging. What do you want to check? Time of call in telephone system versus call in tool. What do you expect? That it meets SLA time. Then you can decide on a frequency and who will do it. In this way, a complete inspection structure is designed. Now, we understand that all these challenges are addressed through some tools. I will now hand over to Mr. Ashok to talk on certain issues addressed by tools in the correct perspective.
Hello. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen now.
Hello, are you able to see me?
Yeah, we are able to hear you.
Can you see my screen, please?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay, thank you, Mr. Bose. And basically, after that, I will be sharing some of the implementation which we have done using the tool. As Mr. Bose gave a lot of emphasis on the process. So we have a tool like Covare ITSM Studio, which basically allows you to configure the complete IT service management. And the features which Mr. Bose highlighted in his presentation, including the SLAs, the processes, the roles different people will play in resolving the tickets, what are different ticket types, what can be the asset for which the ticket can be logged in, what are the users who can log in the ticket based on the tools or the application to which they are entitled to use. All these things are basically available and you can be used in the Covare. First, what I would like to show you here is some of the processes which are there inbuilt. They come inbuilt as with the tool. First process is for the incident resolution. So incident, like some of the organization called the incident as ticket also. So when a ticket is logged into the system, as soon as the ticket is logged, immediately the process started and the task is generated for the level 1 support to review and search the knowledge base. The purpose of this activity is to basically go through the knowledge base and search whether you find a similar type of incident or a problem which was reported earlier. System will throw whatever the knowledge base is, matches with that search criteria, and the L1 guy can see whether some of the resolution or the investigation or the symptom of the problem or the ticket matches with my current problem. Then in that case, he can link it with that particular knowledge base, and a solution is found the person goes and implement a solution. After the solution is implemented, it goes for the confirmation, and if it is confirmed, it goes into the update knowledge base. Otherwise, it goes back to the review and search knowledge base. So the top to bottom path shows when the person has, the L1 has got a similar type of incident or the ticket being there in the knowledge base, and it has got the investigation detail, the resolution detail, or the workaround details, and based on that, a ticket gets closed over here. But many a time, that is not the case. So COVID allows you to basically escalate the incident to a problem or to a change. And when you escalate it to a problem, so take a scenario like this. In an organization, let's say the person is using some application, and in the morning when you came in and you logged in to use that application, and you find that the URL is not working, nothing is coming on the screen. And when the ticket is logged that I am not able to access my application, then it escalated to the level 2, and level 2 created a problem which gets into the resolution mechanism. Now, after the first ticket was logged in, after that many more tickets were logged in because no one in the organization was able to access the application. In that case, you won't like to create that many problems record to be created. So what COVID allows you is, COVID allows you to link that incident with the problem which was created based on the first ticket in the morning, and all the associated new incidents are linked with that problem. And the purpose is that once that particular issue is solved, then with that one issue solved, not only my one ticket will get resolved, all the relevant tickets by other users, maybe 20, 30 users, all of them will be closed over there. So you need not create a new ticket, a new problem for each incident, right? So that is how you can see once the problem is closed, automatically the ticket is also closed. And during the investigation, it can also be noticed that it is not an incident, it's basically a change. So in that case, you can basically escalate that to a change, and when the change is closed, then the incident is closed. So sitting at the ticket at the incident level, you can basically see whether the ticket is getting closed through the incident resolution mechanism, or it has been escalated to a problem, goes through the problem mechanism to get it closed, or it is escalated to a change and it gets into closure. Second process I would like to show you is the problem resolution process. In the problem resolution process, the activities are the assess and classification,